So straight from the halls of Vancouver Fashion Week, the infamous Kris Krüg.
When does the time start?
Go.
Okay, hi, I'm Kris. Thanks a lot to the organizers of Machu Picchu here for having me out tonight. Yeah, appreciate it. They told me to come like 15 minutes early and have a beer and relax and get to know everyone, but I got the time wrong and showed up like 2 hours ago and had 15 beers, so hopefully we make it through the whole thing. But anyway, I'm going to talk to you guys tonight a little bit about the future and the way that I see things moving. And this is a future as defined by open media, and open culture, open source software standards. It's not just a jargony term about openness, but this is represents a real change in the way that we see people discoursing and doing business. The way that we see people sharing information online and sharing of themselves online. One of the first things that I think of is the open media. We have people with cell phones, mobile devices, camera phones, etc., out there creating media, getting it out online, sharing it. And it's happening already all around us. And the result of this isn't just a bunch of meaningless drivel, but there's actually a collective consciousness, a public domain of information that's being created out there that's real and meaningful to a lot of people. The media is changing. We see people asking themselves, what does it mean to be a journalist? What is actually the news? How much of myself should I share out there online? And we see the major media companies wrestling with this, and they end up spending a lot of their money trying to hang on to the status quo, as opposed to embracing the changes that we see out there. One of my personal philosophies is if you don't stick it on the internet, it didn't actually happen. In the spirit of that, I encourage you to get out there and document everything. Take pictures, write blog posts. As much as the learning that's going to take place in this room tonight is of benefit to all of us, how much more valuable it would be if we can share it with the people in our city, in our province, in our country, and across the whole internet. One of the changes that we see, I think, in general is a realization kind of in conferences and events like this where the collective knowledge of all of us vastly outweighs the knowledge of any one person who can come out up here. And so we see a lot of information sharing going on to the benefit of us all. Sharing what we know, contributing our skills and our expertise towards a greater collective benefit. One of the underpinnings of all this movement that I see is open source software. This is software that's made by all of us, and it's owned by none of us. And it's shared amongst us all. We talk things about like WordPress, Drupal, which is what my company works with, Apache, Linux, things like that. And don't get hung up on the jargon, just dive in and figure it all out. Because of all these changes, we're poised at a really unique time, changes in technology, changes in media. We're at a place where there's a dramatic upheaval in the power hierarchies that are out there. Individuals and small organizations with limited resources and budgets now have the power that once was only held by large corporations and by large government organizations. It's an exciting time. And if we look around us, we can see all sorts of examples and proof points that open source culture is thriving. Here in Vancouver, we have a project called freethenet.ca where people are donating their extra Wi-Fi access to a collective benefit. Ile Sans Fil in Montreal. There's another group I'm a big fan of here in Vancouver called Free Geek. They collect your old hardware and teach people how to use it, recycle it, get it back out in the hands of people who need it. We see a proliferation of like grassroots open source conferences and events taking place. Things that cost nothing, everyone comes and participates in some way. If you are extroverted, you stand up and speak. If you're introverted, you help set up, clean up, blog about the thing. Everyone's got a role to play. And everyone's coming out and making these things happen. Bar camp, transit camp, photo camp, all sorts of stuff. I believe that as young creatives, emerging creatives, our biggest danger out there isn't piracy or having our work stolen, it's actually obscurity and being irrelevant. So I encourage you to get your stuff out there, mix it with other people's shit, collaborate, cross-pollinate. This is the Creative Commons logo. Creative Commons is an interesting legal apparatus that allows us to retain some rights of our work while giving other rights away to be used in other works. I'd like to talk about effective dissemination. Like maybe it's not that important to have a website anymore. Maybe it's more important to have a digital identity where you're out there participating in these networks that already exist. Do you have photos on Flickr that other people can use that are Creative Commons tag that people can remix and other stuff? You've got videos on YouTube. You've got a Twitter presence. A lot of our fans and friends and customers want to do a lot more than just buy our art or write a check. These people want to be ambassadors of our message, and if we empower them to do so by sharing information with them, giving them the tools they need, They'll do a lot of the work for us to help us get our messages out in the marketplace and build the type of reputation and brand and messages that we really want to see out there. I believe that we're at a unique point. We can do this. We have the power, the technology. Every single one of us with our iPhones has a printing press, a radio station, a television station right in the in our pocket. It worked for folks like Obama and other folks, and I think it can work for the rest of us too. This is something that's just getting started, and the pace and rate of this technological change and this move towards openness is quickening all the time. I look out on the horizon, and the things that I see changing are things like open borders, people sharing information across borders not tied to geography, the emergence of the developing world, specifically China and India, and the pervasive use of mobile technology and the internet through our phones and everywhere else. We're going to have connection to the universal knowledge of all mankind in our pocket. One of the practical tips I want to give is that when it comes to brand and reputation online, I am whatever you say I am. If you go off tonight, you're going to Google my name, and those top 10 results are going to be what defines me. Know what those top 10 results for you are and know how to control them. Have a platform on which you can disseminate messages and be able to influence those top results. One of the things I'd like to encourage people to do, and I'm trying to do myself, is move to a completely distributed life where I'm not tied to any single device, not a computer or a phone or anything. All my information lives out there on the cloud, my contacts, my resources, my photographs, my databases. I can log in from anywhere in the world, from any dumb terminal, and have everything at my fingertips. I encourage you to go out there and don't get hung up on evangelical technology wars like Mac versus PC or Linux versus Windows or something, but build a toolkit of things that you can low cost, cheaply implement at any time. Things like Basecamp for project management, things like Google Docs for your document management, Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, the rest. Learn about these things. Don't get hung up on the technology. Get out there, empower yourself. Don't be scared of it. Give yourself away. Get your stuff out there. Get your stuff online. Don't be irrelevant. Plug into the culture around you and create a movement. And I just want to wrap up by saying that these aren't just my ideas or something that's come up lately, but these are universal truths, I believe. I made a funny little typo. This was supposed to be what would Henry David Thoreau do, but I forgot the T. But I learned this at least from my experiment, that if one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will be met with a success unexpected in common hours. Thanks a lot for having me, guys.